What's up guys, it's Talon here. In today's video, we've got a pro tier list on deck. Today, we're going to be looking at the top pros in NA East and ranking them. But before I get into this video, guys, if you do enjoy my content or simply enjoy Fortnite, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps. Now, let's just jump into the video. All right, I'm going to be ranking these pros down below here. There is a ton, and basically it is in alphabetical order. Now, again, before I do any type of tier list, I will say this is just my opinion. If you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments, or if there's anything that you would like to change. Now, again, I'm going to be starting off by doing this in order. And now, so 32 wanted, I don't know who this professional player is. I'm going to put that in the who category, and no disrespect to anyone on this list. Everyone that is on this page, I guarantee you is a better Fortnite player than I am. So no hard feelings there. Now, Acorn, this is pretty clear. You could make even an argument to put him in top 5, an FNCS winner, but I'm going to think he needs just a little bit more to be in that top 5 category, and has not performed as well in duos, but clearly a tier 1 pro. Same thing with Agers. Agers is probably a very popular pick to get an FNCS this season with Canada this upcoming weekend. I'm going to put him in the tier 1 pro as well. Ale. Unfortunately, I do not know who this pro is, so we're going to put him in the who category, and there's a lot of names on here, so I'm not surprised that I don't know every single one. I'm Aminished. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I also do not know who this pro is. I'm going to put him in the who category. Now, Asian Jeff. Asian Jeff is just skill level could be a tier 1 pro, but just for the way that he treats people, I'm going to put him in a tier 3. I think he's just, in terms of person you want to play with, you never want to play with him. And I think his mentality and the way he just kind of communicates and talks to people is really holding him back from a Fortnite standpoint. AV's kind of been on the come up recently, hasn't been really that prominent, a controller player. And no, I'm not going to make a separate list for controller players like a lot of people like to do on these tier lists, because simply, there really is, there is a big difference. So I'm going to put AV. I'll put him in tier 3. I think he just needs more consistency, and he was a lot more prominent in chapter 2, but I do believe he is trending upwards. Avery. Avery's kind of hard to rank in my opinion. Has an FNCS under his belt in squads. Always been near the top. I'd probably put him in tier 1 pro. Signed to a major organization. I'll give him the tier. I'm kind of stuck between tier 1 and tier 2, but I think Avery is the tier 1 pro. Aviv, I have heard of this pro, not a lot. I think he's on the come up. I think he's trending upwards, but at this current moment in his career, I'll put him as a tier 3. Now, Bank has been one of the most consistent controller players, definitely in the forefront, pretty famous for beating clicks off spawn a bunch. I'll put him in the tier 2 category. Probably one of the more underrated controller players in the community. Berserk, I'm sorry, I have no idea who that is, so we're going to put him in the who category. Bizzle is clearly washed, but Bizzle being one of the best IGLs of all time, normally I'd put him, you could make an argument for top 5, but I would say at this current moment in chapter 3 season 3, he's kind of a shell of himself. He did make grand finals last season, but he's playing with Xpelt this season, maybe a newer and up-and-coming player, but I do not believe that they even qualified. Blake has been really good recently. Blake has kind of always been good, flying under the radar. I love him and Vert as a duo. I think they have a real chance. They've been incredibly consistent. I'd put Blake, you could maybe put Blake as a tier 2. I would say he's also in the trending upward, but he doesn't have the resume of Acorn, Agers, or Avery. Bryce X, do not know who that is, so we're going to put him in the who category. Bucky. And Bucky, I think at this current moment is kind of, I hate to do this, and I think he's moving more in the content route. At this current moment in time, I'm going to put him in the wash category, kind of Bizzle. But I think, again, Bucky's more going in that content route with NRG. That's completely fine. At his peak, obviously, probably a tier 1 or tier 3, but at this current moment, probably put him in the wash category. Booga, this is probably the easiest one on this list. He's clearly top 5, not on just this region, but top 5 in the entire world. There's no debate in that. World Cup winner, multi-FNCS champion, and one of the favorites as well to win this up and coming, and has just pretty much been one of the figureheads for Fortnite. Easy. Builds. Now, I don't know if Builds plays anymore. He was a console player that I think he switched to PC. Just based on that, I think he's a console demon, but in terms of all these PC players, I'd put him in just tier 3. Bully's another underrated controller player, along with Blake, or not Blake, Bank, excuse me. Bully, he's hard to rank. I'd maybe put him in the tier 2. category. I think he has more consistency as well than the players below him. Now, Calc is definitely in the wash category for sure. Oh, Cam, this one's hard to rate. He doesn't have that big of a resume, and he's kind of exploded onto the scene. But I think the way that he's performed consistently in solo and duos in the last, you have to put him higher than kind of some of these pros. I might put him in the tier 2 category up in here. I think Cam is only trending upwards. I think he could truly become a tier 1 controller player as he continues to develop. Casker, man, I haven't heard about Casker in a while. I don't know how he's doing. I don't have enough information to kind of rate him properly. But I would say, I don't know. Maybe since I haven't heard enough about him, I'll probably maybe he's even in the quick category. So I'll just put him in wash. I'm not sure. This again, if you disagree, you can definitely put me down. Kaz has been one of the most consistent players, probably more underrated. I'll put him in the tier 2 category. I think he's one good grand finals away from probably being considered. He is one of the most consistent pros, but he just hasn't had that grand finals performance that's really elevates him like these guys that are above him. Cease is clear of tier 1, still making grand finals consistently, even with his resume, World Cup all the way to now, been a dominant head figure, even doing well with solos. And as an older player, I'm going to put him in the tier 1 category. I think his resume is pretty much just going to justify him here, and him still being able to qualify to grand finals and getting the respect as playing with someone as talented as Day is as a fragger. Now, Scented, this is where with multiple second, oh man, this one's just kind of hard because of his consistency at second is so great. He's obviously a tier 1. You could even make an argument to throw him in top 5. I'm going to throw him in tier 1 simply the fact that I don't think, just for the personal reason of him basically kicked off FaZe Clan for his racist remarks. So I will give him respect from a game point, but I will not give him that top 5 title. Straw Hat Charlie, I think he's quit. I haven't heard anything from Charlie in a long time, and I believe he does not play anymore. Now Chimp is, I'd say he's tier 2. He's one of those people that they're consistently always good. I would say he's tier 2. You can make an argument for tier 2 or tier 3, but I think he needs, again, kind of like Kaz, needs that grand finals performance to kind of boost him up. Now Chubbs I've heard of. I don't have any information on Chubbs' resume to basically put him at the top. I would put maybe here. I'll put him in tier 3. Again, I've heard of him, but I don't have enough information, and I believe he doesn't have the resume that any of these people above him have. So we'll put him in tier 3. Clarity G, you have to put him as a tier 1 pro due to longevity, a World Cup qualifier, a grand finalist, consistently, pretty much one of the most polarizing names in the game. Easy tier 1 pro. Now Clix is hard to rate. He's consistent. He's huge. He's probably considered the most popular player in North America, maybe competing with Bugha. He's obviously a tier 1 pro, consistently makes grand finals, one of the best World Cup qualifiers. I think Clix, I'm gonna put him in the top 5 on NA East just for now, and I will probably tweak this tier 1 in top 5 at the end. Collazo I think is quick competitive Fortnite. He has moved on to Apex Legends, so we'll put him in the quick category. Cobalt, unfortunately I do not know who that is, so we're going to put him in the who category. Cold being Scented's duo, kind of been a chapter 3 kind of rise up. I put him probably, I would say tier 2, just with him being doing well in grand finals with Scented. Kind of has better resumes than all of these people below, but doesn't really have the solo or that longevity resume that's the people above him have. Commandment's probably top 5 on the server, in my opinion, or tier 1, so I'm going to throw him up here. And like I said, I'm going to tweak this at the end if there's anyone I want to duck and change. We're only in the C's, and we got a lot to go. Coop, I would say, is kind of in the wash category. Really, after winning that solo F in CS, has really not found that consistency. He's been playing with Bizzle. I'm not even sure how he did in the most recent Cash Cup, and I believe he's been not let go, his contract ran out with G2. So Kodal, I know, has quit. He brags about it on his TikTok all the time. So Kodal's quit. Crackley's a really good player. I could probably argue Crackley and Crunchy. I kind of always get these guys confused all the time. I always flip-flop them a lot. I'd say I could put Crackley. It'd be tough. I'm going to put him just from longevity state. I'm going to put Crackley and Crutchy in tier 2, but not necessarily, you know, 100% on these as well. Let's see. Death. Death is new. I don't know anything about his resume. I'll put him in tier 3. Dejin, long time standing. I'd say his resume is tier 1. Also, the same thing about DeRoller, one of the best controller players. You put him up there. Day, obviously, is a tier 1, but I think Day doesn't have he has the resume from the trios. I just think that his struggles recently don't vault him in that top 5 category, but it's truly possible. And like I said, I'm going to tweak that. So Diego plays. Diego plays on the come up, won grand finals, more of creative. I'm going to put him as a tier 3. Demir, never heard of him, so I'm going to put him in the Who category. Donnie, I have heard of him. I think he's trending upwards, but we're going to put him in the tier 3 category. Dubs, obviously long time, long-standing tier 1 for sure. You could probably make an argument due to his longevity and his resume that he can make it top 5. Dukes, put him at tier 1 as well. Multi-FNCS champion. He's got a lot of a really, really strong resume. Now, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to have to probably keep changing this alignment chart because we're running out of space here. Dusky, I've heard of Dusky. I don't know enough about him, but not at the top. I'd say tier 3. Same thing with Durant. I've heard him. Edan, I think he's also tier 3, kind of on the come up. Now, let's look at Edgy here. Edgy, I think you have to put him either Scented and Edgy and Scented. I'd say Edgy probably over Scented simply just because of the personal aspect. Elite, PSG and 18 Elite. Obviously a good player playing for a top 3, but we'll put him there. Beautiful, we can do that. Sorry, there's a fly in my face. Inks, I'm not familiar with the name. I'm going to put him in the Who category. Iamzo. Iamzo, I think, is a tier 2. I think if he has a better grand finals resume, you could boost him up, but I think he has the skill. He obviously has the solo skill with winning some solo cash cups as well, so that really gives him some boost to his rim raise. Flamwars, never heard of. Frist. Frist, I think, is in the tier 2 category as well. Been playing, I think he just needs to get another big grand finals for him to really vault him into that tier 1 category. Furious quit long time ago, a demon controller player. Feared, never heard of, so we're gonna put him over here. Gonzo, never heard of as well. Glace, I think Glace is close to that tier 1, but I think he's tier 2 at this current moment. I think he's just have one big grand finals performance from jumping up into that tier 1. Jacques, obviously FNCS champion. I'm going to put him up here as well in that tier 1 category. That trio with Acorn was really, really good. Jamper, again, obviously Lane Stay, long-time resume. We'll put him way up there. Chronic Jays, I'm not sure if he plays anymore. I think he's one of those controller guys, so we're going to put those console guys that is kind of not played as much. I haven't seen them really competitive. I don't know too much about the console scene, so I'll just throw him into tier 3. Joji is quit. Unfortunately, one of my favorite mouse and keyboard players. He just got 7 grands. He would be a tier 1 if he was still playing. Justice, I think Justice has come back. Justice is an FNCS winner. He's part of that kind of when users, Justice and Dukes first burst on the scene with one of the best kind of underdog stories, along with kind of last season with Bila and Peterbot winning duos. Just kind of never really expected those guys. Justice, I'm going to put him tier 3. I think he quit for a while too, but I know he did play in the most recent one, but he's tier 3 at this current moment with his just kind of one random resume and kind of disappeared. K-Verbs, never heard of, so I'm going to put him over here. Kanata, man, we're going to throw him to tier 1, but this season, he's been the best player on NA East for sure. He's never gotten that grand finals like he wanted. He's tier 1. And like I said, I'm going to tweak the tier 1 finals, so don't stick around to the end when I kind of tweak that and see, because the top 5 is going to be a really big discussion. The only person I think that's truly locked in is Booga up there. Knifer's been pretty consistent. I think he has that grand finals resume. You jump him up to that tier 1, but consistently perform a really, really good Knight. He's quit. Controller player, was really much more popular in chapter 2. Creo, I think Creo is not taking the game seriously anymore. I put it in the wash category. That was one of Vert's biggest complaints last season. Quanti, okay, oh, man, he's kind of hard to kind of hard to just kind of, I don't know a ton about him. I'm going to put him tier 3. Quanti, I believe, has a little bit better resume. I'm not sure on this one. So Quanti, I'm sorry, but I don't know enough. So I'm going to throw Quanti in tier 2. Macwood, I'll put him in the wash category. For sure. Magnolia, I don't even know if he still plays anymore. I would throw him in the tier 3. Mammy, I have no idea who that is. Mars of W, I'd put him in the wash category at this current moment in time, but he does have a very strong resume, I will say. At his prime, he was probably a tier 2. Mega's kind of also in that wash category for me. But Mega, I think, is focusing more on content, more IRL. At his peak, he would obviously be a tier 1. Dubs has qualified for grand finals this season, so Mega's kind of been chilling it down, and that's completely okay. Miro, this is easy. This is a top 5, and like I said, so I'm gonna throw him. Once I scroll up, I'm gonna throw him. He's a lock for top 5. He's, in my opinion, the best player in the world. So we'll throw him up there. That's our top 5 right now. That's definitely there to stay. Mikey Six has been a good player for a long time, but I don't think recently he's had anything really too crazy. I'll put him in the tier 3 category. Mustache, I have no idea. Muzz, probably again one of the best stories coming over to NA. He's clearly a tier 1 or top 5, but I'd put him just because ever since without Bogan, Miro has had that success, and that just kind of what separates him from being top 5, but one of the best on the server for sure, and to do it in multiple regions. Narwhal's very, very underrated. Again, if he has that grand finals performance, I'm throwing him up into tier 2. Kind of the same thing with, let me see, Nico just qualled, so I would probably I could kind of put him in tier 2 or tier 3. I don't know. I've heard him for a long time, so I'm going to give him that tier 2 benefit. Neon, I have no idea who that is. Throw that. Nick Afen, I think he's a French-Canadian. I'd probably throw him in the tier 3 category. Ghost Noodle, I'm not sure if he plays anymore. But I'll put him, I'm not sure where to put him. I'm going to throw him, I haven't heard him in a while, so I'm going to put him in the tier 3 category as well. Nosh, now Nosh gets a lot of hate in the community. I think his resume, think his current moment, he's probably a tier 2, but he gets a lot of hate in this community. I think I would honestly put him in tier 1. I think actually, now the more I look about it, just kind of his resume is just so long standing, and his consistency been pretty good. Not Panda, don't know who that is. Nounsy, I'd put in the tier 3, just resumes, not the craziest. Nut, I'd put in tier 2. Nut, Chucky, Nut and Chimp. Nut, I believe, is also, I don't know if that's a Nut console. I'll put him in tier 2 though. Has placed really high at the top at a lot of time. Nyx, I'll put at because I don't know. Okus, now controller player, I'll put him at tier 2. I think he's got a better resume than a lot of people down here at tier 3, and I'd put him up here at T2. Oliver OG, one of the best IGLs in the game, in my opinion. Someone that's just had a really just kind of wholesome come up. Unfortunately, I'm going to give him the tier 2 benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to burst him above Jeff just dealing with that. Osp has been around for quite a while. But I put him in the tier 3 category as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put Al in tier 3 category. Unfortunately, life circumstances have been really tough on Al. Unfortunately, diagnosed with testicular cancer, so not being able to play Fortnite competitive at the very best of your ability, completely understandable. So just prayers up to Al. I hope he's doing well. Pamstu has been good for a very, very long time. I'd put him in the tier 2 category as well. And again, another some grand finals consistency would really jump him up into that tier 1. Paper, again, a good player for a long time. Tier 2, tier 1. I think you could make it even at this current moment. I'd put him in tier 2. He just has some better finals performance, but he's been a staple long time. And a lot of these guys are very, very close, and they can blur the lines between tier 1 and tier 2. Now, someone in Paris, I'm not exactly sure who this is, so we're going to throw him in who. Peter Bot, most recent FNCS champion. You have to give it to the man. Peter Bot is one of the he has a good solo resume. He has an FNCS under belt. You kind of have to throw him in the tier 1 category. You really do. P-God, I don't believe even qualified for the most recent. I haven't been crazy high on P-God throughout, but very, very big to the to the Latino and Spanish community. So I'm going to throw him in tier 3, but no disrespect. Obviously, very, very impactful. I think he's also going more of that content route. Posed. Posed. I've heard of his name. I can't really rank his resume, or I'm not even sure if he quit. So I'm going to just throw him into tier 3. If I've heard of him, but and don't know too much about him, kind of throw them in tier 3. Maybe someone can correct me or enlighten me. Now, Polarized, man, oh my goodness, been very, very consistent for a while, but that he needs that grand finals performance. I'll put him at tier 2. Pump, up and coming controller player, made a lot of grand finals. I think he's, again, kind of the same way. You'll throw him into that tier 2 category, but I think there's some more consistent controller players above him in Master Keyboards. Ral, do not know who that is. Reciprocal gets a lot of hate. I think he's a decent player, and I think he's trending upwards, so I'm going to throw him in tier 3. Rise, this is clear tier 1 for sure. One of the best IGLs in the game. Do it for the kids, as Aussie Antics says. Rokane, basically backpack Joji in grand finals. Is Dubs duo just qualified again? Rokane is a clear tier 1 pro in my opinion. Rogue Shark has been a staple for a long time, but he's been kind of trending downwards for a while. And his duo just kind of quit. I'm not sure if he qualified, but I would put him. Man, this is tough. I'd probably put him in just at this current moment in time as a tier 3. Saf is clearly a tier 1. Under his resume is just so strong. Even though he didn't qual for playing in NA West, he came back to the game. He was going to be in the quick category, but for impact and longevity, Saf is clearly tier 1. Scoped I think is going more that content route, but Scoped as a solo can make some crazy impact plays. He was dominant in Chapter 2. He's still been relevant. He's dominant in the no-build scene. I'd throw him in tier 2. Man, that's kind of tough. I would say Scoped and Tfue is undefeated. Yeah, but I'd still throw him in tier 2. Just hasn't had this success like he's had. Seek, I'm not sure who that is, so we'll put that over there. TNG Sharkman, I'd probably put in tier 3 for sure. Shoney, I think that was Shoney Capalot is what he used to go by. I don't have a lot of them, but doesn't really have that crazy resume. I'll throw him in tier 3. Slacks I'd throw in tier 2. He hasn't been. They were crazy at the end of Chapter 2, his trio. Slacks and I can't remember everyone that was in his trio, but maybe it was Acorn or Jock. Slacks at one time, I would say he's just a little bit below, just because the way that Chapter 3 has gone for him. And a lot of these guys on here have been more consistent and had much bigger impacts. Smite plays with Larson, and they've been pretty good. I would put Smite probably at, this is tough, probably his resume, I'd probably put him at tier 3. Smacked, due to his resume and longevity, even though it hasn't been craziest in Chapter 3, put him at tier 2. Snake, no idea who that is. Spark G, no idea who that is. Spegu, I haven't heard anything from Spegu, or I'm not sure if he even still plays. So I'm going to put him in tier 3, and he could be a quit. Spike, I have no idea who that is. Sprite, the most famous 1v3 in the history of the game to qualify to reboot round. I think he's a clear tier 2 professional. Squish, I remember he was in KNG. I'm not sure if he's still playing, but at this current moment, I'd throw him in 3. Kind of same thing with Stacky. I don't know if he plays anymore, but I would put him in tier 3 as well. Storms, have no idea who that is. Stretch, obviously on his prime, tier 1, most consistent grand finals in a row. I'll give him a pass for taking this last one off. I mean, clearly been one of the biggest staples in the game of Fortnite. I'll throw him the tier 1 just for how long his longevity. Tabney's been really good for a long time. I'll throw him into 2. Tabs G's been really good for a long time as well. Tahi, again, I would say been really good for a long time. Put him in tier 2. Now Tetro, no idea who that is. I remember this used to be Noob Teo. I'd put Teo probably at tier 2 as well. Tico, I don't have any knowledge of him, so I'm gonna put him just in the who. I really don't know anything about him. The name's not even that familiar. TK, one of the best controller players. He's one good grand finals performance away. I would put him maybe in the top 10 controller players, but with everyone on the server, there's a lot. Now Tragics, I'm not even sure if Tragic still plays, so I would say I haven't heard his name come up in a while. Tragics has a really good resume, so I'd put him in tier 2, but I mean, I'm not sure if he still plays. Trap, I'm not sure if he still plays either, but Trap is solid. I put him probably, I'll put him tier 3 for right now. 20 is solid, but doesn't have that grand finals performance. Users, really, really, really good. He's got an FNCS under his belt. I just don't think he's had as much success. Again, that's why I'd probably kind of throw him into the tier 2. Like Dukes has, so that's why you could throw Dukes up there on the T2, and then it's just a very, very different, but a very good Vert. Vert, solo FNCS champion, has been super consistent in Chapter 3, and he went from NA East to NA West again. So that's our easier version to an easy region to a harder region. I'm gonna throw him up as a tier 1. I know that might be the most controversial, but I think what Vert has done is really, really good. Kind of resurrected his career. Villette, never really heard of him. 33 visuals. Visuals is good. I'd probably put him in tier 2. Now everyone says Voil is horrid, and I don't think he's horrid, but I don't think he's that crazy, so I'll put him in tier 3. W Carry, I have no idea who that is. Who Fishy, man, this is one of the harder people to rank in my opinion, because simply he has been so consistent. He's been on controller. He's an underrated controller player. And him and Kaz have been super consistent. This would be tough. I think he's one of those people that needs like one just good grand finals performance. So I'll put him in tier 2. Wrigley, I believe, quit. But he's one of the best solo clutches ever. Accept, I'd put in tier 3. Part of the famous 1v3. Zuni's is quit. I do not know who Yuz is. Zlem, I'm not sure if Zlem still plays, but I put him in tier 3. Zipski, I believe he was tier god, P God's duo mate this season. Solid, I put him in tier 3. Zucker, not too much sure who that, so I'll put him down below. Zypha, I would put him in the wash category. I don't believe Zypha has been pretty much as consistent. Curbs, I've never heard of. Put him in there. Dictating is tier 3. A lot of people give Dictating a lot of hate. I think his resume kind of matches that. Eclipse, I thought he was in EU, so I'm a little bit confused. But his resume, I'd put him at a tier 1. Just overall what he's accomplished. Nani, I think is decent. He's on the way up. I'll put him in tier 2. Plague, I've never heard of. Savage, I've recently heard of. I put him tier 3. Glepo, never heard of. Goku, never heard of. Hap, never heard of. Illust was dominant in Chapter 2, one of the most consistent controller players. I think at this current moment he's tier 2. He's still competing. I think he just, again, like if he has just some more grand finals consistently, he vaults in that tier 1 category. Larson, I think, is solid. I think he's on the way up. I'll put him in tier 2. He's been really consistent. Shadow, I'll put in tier 3. Threats, Man City Threats. I think he's not had the Chapter 3 that he wanted, but you can make an argument for tier 1. I think just as most recently, consistently, he's just kind of hasn't been as consistent as you would like. Zum, don't know who that is. Skittles, man, Skittles is really good. Hasn't had the best since the trio split, but I'll still put him at tier 1, I think. And I could make an argument. I might throw Threats in there as well later. Aspect, I'd say I think he quit. So I'll put him in the quit category or washed. Lorden, don't know who that is. Mudsy, I believe that's who's playing with Somerset, so I'll put him tier 3. Crazy GG, I have no idea who that is. Dom, I've seen Moo. I don't know anything about Dom. I've heard of Moo, but I can't really just put him out. I'll put him in tier 3 just based on resume. Not heard of Retux or Twix or Barber or Brutal or Dom KBM or Hero. Now Felix is Sparrowbow's duo, so I'll put him in tier 3. Sparrowbow, I'd put him in tier 3 as well. X and B has a better resume than a lot of these people in tier 3. And again, a lot of these people I may not know in tier 3 as well, but I am a little bit for, I'll put X and B in tier 2. Rift Mule, he gets a lot of hate. I'm not sure if he still plays, but I put him in tier 3. Cooper, I'm not sure. Udon, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Bread still plays, but if he does, I'd put him in tier 3. Elsa, I have no idea who that is. Snatch, I have no idea. Nexi is a controller demon, one of the up and come, like has been maybe more on a downhill. I put him in tier 2 though, still competing, still doing pretty solid. Snaz on the come up, I would put him at 3. Don't know who Possessed is, don't know who Crispy is. Jaith I put in tier 3, but I think his last FNCS he wanted to take some with 0 earnings, so that's really difficult to do, so I respect that. Thatch has been really good for a long time. Probably put him on the tier 2 list as well. Just again, a little bit more consistency. Boom, you put him up in that tier 1. Ascends, don't know who that is. Elite Playify, really solid. Just qualled with Muzz. I'll put him in tier 2. You can make a case for tier 3 as well. Pledge is again just one of those people that if he has a consistent, where did he go? There he is, tier 2. You can put him there. And then Suscript, I'd put him in tier 3. And now I'm gonna tweak my top 5. So Mirror Booger are locked in, and this is like Commandment Edged Scented. I think can kind of vouch for that spot at this current moment. I would say Acorn Agers also had some. This is really hard. Man, oh man. Okay, I want to. All right, let me see if I would I put Acorn over any of these players. Commandment Edge, I probably want to put him over. I'm gonna move Clix to the end because I feel like he's the ones that's fringe. Acorn, because Acorn has an FNCS, Clix doesn't. Agers may have one this season. I mean, Clix has just been so consistent, so polarizing, been so good for so long. He has that World Cup resume that a lot of these players don't have, so it's really hard to knock him down when he doesn't have that FNCS. I think you could make a case for Scented here, really could, but I'm going to keep him down just because of the racist comments. Clarity G, he hasn't been as consistent. Day, you can make a case, but I think Day, as we saw, without kind of Miro as his buddy, hasn't been as good. Dubs, you can make a case. Again, I'll kind of keep him down there because of his racist remarks as well. Man, I don't know. You can make a case for Kanata top 5 at this current moment. I think he needs that resume. Vert has an FNCS. Who else on this list has an FNCS? Acorn does, Jacques does, but they haven't been as consistent in Chapter 3. Scented has a lot of second places. Clarity G World Cup resume. Day has a lot of FNCSs on this as well. You know what? It's kind of, man, it's so tough because Clix has been more consistent for longer, but Day's ceiling has been higher, and they've kind of struggled together. And they're both, qualified for this. Ooh, really tough. I think I'm gonna put. I think you just have to put Day up there, right? In some capacity. I think Clix. I think you have to just either bump Clix or bump. I'm gonna put Commandment down because Clix has that World Cup resume. Commandment also doesn't have an FNCS. Day has a ton of them. That's what kind of gets him up there. Clix doesn't have an FNCS, but been super duper consistent, and he has a World Cup resume. Edgy, super duper consistent, doesn't have the World Cup resume. Booga has both. Miro has both. That's pretty clear cut. So that, guys, is going to do it for my tier list. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.